What up? What up? What up, world? Let's jump right into it. We don't got time to waste. 12-team Superflex PPR Redraft. You already know why we're here. You know what we're doing. We're going to hit the intro. Do not, whatever you do not like and subscribe. I can't stand that kind of stuff. Hit the intro. Hey, boys, let's jump right into it. I got Ant with me. You already know who I am. Dustin, Get Right Fantasy Network. Can I roll these sleeves up? Show a little bicep. I worked out a few months ago. I'm sure you guys could tell. There it is.
Let's go.
Save some ladies for the rest of us, my man.
Hey now.
Hey, let's jump right into it. I already broke down what we're going to be doing. You know why we're here. We're starting off. He's got to be local. HK Patrick, 209. Jump us off, Ant. What do you think?
Yeah, so number one pick. Obviously love Christian McCaffrey. I personally like going Christian McCaffrey instead of Patrick Mahomes with the 101 in his super flex. But that's just me. And, followed up by the Diggs and Kittle. He actually went auto draft for his first couple picks here. He joined us about the third or fourth round. Was having some connection issues here. Yeah. So I will kind of just preface it by saying that. So I know that Diggs and Kittle pick were definitely auto picks. But I think he kind of rounded the team out, nicely as far as that goes. But of course, when you don't take those quarterbacks early in a super flex, overall, I give him a C- because he's going to need to trade to get this team where it needs to be. No QB3. Deshaun Watson is your QB2. I mean, it's probably could go even a D. If Frank was here, we know what he would say.
Yeah. Hey, Frank gave a C with Watson for the first time. So we already know the situation there. We won't harp on him too hard because it is an auto draft, but you definitely want to get quarterbacks that fall off a cliff after a certain number.
Especially here at Get Right. I mean, those quarterbacks
we got
are
the
usually
man.
gone by round 4.
Let's jump to the man. The writer, the author, the fantasy football Shakespeare, if you will. My boy, Andrew.
Let's go. Shout out, Andrew.
Let's go. Andrew
All
B73.
Yep. Writer extraordinaire. The Get Right FF.com website. My man came out and drafted here. I got him at a C+. I think obviously when you don't get that QB3, again, whether you're with Get Right or anyone else, I'm going to tell you how it is. When you don't get that third QB in a super flex, I think that kind of just puts you behind the 8 ball. Would kind of like to see a better RB2 and RB3 on this team. Obviously real nice with Henry, but then goes, Rojo. And then he doesn't have, another running back there until Henderson and Dillon there at the end. So again, overall, I give it a C+. He has some, top end talent on the team, and we'll see what happens.
Andrew, you are top end talent in my opinion. I'm giving you an A+, just because you are who you are. I love the Cam Newton. I think that's a sleeper. I think most of these guys are he picked basically from 2 divisions in football. Pretty close. You can make it work. I'm not a big Rojo fan, but I think he's got a little bit of everything. He could throw it together. It's not a secret that you could pick some guys up off the waiver wire that are going to eat for you. So you just need a few pickups. You can make it work. But AwkwardSharkDad, you want to break this one down?
Yeah. AwkwardSharkDad, shout out. To me, I'm going to throw out an A+.
First A?
Yeah, A+ even.
A+? A+
even.
From the color coding, I was like, this is right up Anthony's style.
Exactly. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I think AwkwardSharkDad here is, challenging a couple people here for kind of number one fan of Get Right Fantasy. But, whether he's sucking up to us or, feels that this is the way to draft the team, to me, this is exactly, what I want to see. I think he cashed in at every single pick for the most part that he made. Is a great combination of, solid starters with good depth and assets with lotto tickets. I mean, it has a little bit of everything that you want in a team as far as construction and as far as, again, assets for setting up to trade or standing pat the whole year, if that's how it turns out. Um, Again, I mean, I don't have to keep preaching on it. A plus. What else can I say?
And that's a tough position too. Coming in at 3 when you see Mahomes, I mean, you got to jump on him. Definitely a solid draft. Knew you would love it. I'm sure Frank would toss the same grade out there. So,
yeah, he
good
would
draft.
probably say Giannis Smith there in the 13th is a perfect place to take your tight end.
Jonnu.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
he would say all that. So, I mean, I guess we should kind of let the people know if you're not looking at the. And again, you can check the description for the link to the draft board, so you can check it out. With us as you're looking here, if you can't see it on your screen. But as far as the actual picks, Mahomes, Swift, Gibson, ETN is his RB3, Tannehill's an RB2.
not a
Solid
bad day.
wide receivers and Cup, Claypool, and Samuel. Devontae Smith and Javonte Williams as far as some rookie, talent that could be potential, wide receiver and running back ones on their team.
Yeah.
Again, nails that.
I'll say
Jonnu
just from
Smith.
the color code.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
I mean,
so
just
you
that
can
alone.
switch names in whoever you're most comfortable with at certain
Right.
positions. But overall, that's pretty much. I just want to say, out of the first 5 picks, I like the 3 running backs, 2 quarterback strategy. I feel like you could pick receivers up just like he did. And he's just it's all potential. We'll see what happens there.
Absolutely.
But again, DaBearsPL. Okay, I like your team. I'm not going to say anything good about Wentz. I think that, hey, my man's got a pretty deadly team right here. I loved it. I loved what he did. I mean, look at the receiving core. When you got Michael Thomas, DK, and AJ Brown, like, who's sleeping? Not to mention he threw Dalvin in there. Matt Ryan's got to throw the ball because they're trash. They're always going to be losing. And then Carson Wentz, I'll give it to Indy. They're probably going to be pretty good. That's why they're saying Jonathan Taylor's going to get so many carries. But, I mean, overall, I really like this team. Too many Denver guys for me. One guy is too many Denver guys, but he's got 2. So, hey, Jameis Winston's a steal. We already know he could throw 5,000 yards. I love Parker. I think it's Fournette's job in Tampa Bay. I didn't mean to even break down his whole team.
Oh, that's
and then
good.
You got Sleeper at Ertz. Like, I mean, I like what he did. I think
Absolutely.
we got some solid drafting right there.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You kind of talked him up for me. I actually had him here as a B plus, being a little hard on the grading, and I'll tell you why. Just because of the running back depth. I don't like the fact that he has only 3 running backs total on this team. He's looking at 5 wide receivers, and when your 2 starters are when your 2 starters are AJ Brown and DK Metcalf, you don't need 3 other receivers. Like, you're good there. They're not, like, barring injury, you're not starting any of those other guys. Those guys are
once you pick up Michael Thomas, hit the brakes.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, those guys are matchup proof. So, for me, yeah, you have Michael Thomas there as your wide receiver 3. So at that point, like, you don't need Judy and Parker. You need more running back depth down there. So for me, that's why it drops from that A to a B. But because of everything else, I can't go any lower than a B plus. So that's where I'm at.
Hey, good draft. Minor tweaks.
Yep.
So moving on to the 5th team, the Chargers. The Chargers. And mind you guys, this is before they say that the Chargers signed Julio or anything like that, right? We're not going there. Okay. Hey. Man, what'd you give him? What do you think?
Yeah, so I got my Chargers here. I think he had a pretty overall pretty solid team. To me, it's a solid B. Every player I think was kind of picked exactly where they should be. But for the most part, kind of the wide receivers are a little suspect, like, overall as far as talent level. And of course, with the QB3 kind of being an unknown and Trey Lance, whether he's going to start, you may only get a half a year after him, after the Niners bye week is kind of where it's looking like he might go, unless he just really wows everybody, kind of like Russell Wilson did, in camp, and just wins that starting job, outright. Then it's a little suspect. Again, we're doing this in May. So as of right now,
dynasty vibes?
What's that?
Do you get a lot of dynasty vibes?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, for a dynasty side, not overall total in a draft, because Chargers is drafted with us, before. So he definitely
Yeah,
knows what the format is. He knows what's going on.
but
So I
sometimes
just
it
think
takes a
like,
little bit.
well, and sometimes these are just where the players fall. Like I said, that's why I kind of said it's like I don't think he could have done anything different, and that's what kind of sucks. Sometimes you're just a victim of your position, and you're a victim of everybody else's mistakes or
Yeah,
good picks. So sometimes you're just in the wrong spot for that draft that you're in with the people you're drafting against. And to me, that's kind of this position. How do you not take Allen, right there in that spot? How do you not take
yeah,
Adams? How do you not take Najee? Like every pick he did, he nailed. Even with Mayfield, like who are you going to take? I mean, maybe you can argue he could have took Cousins there, but the only other quarterbacks left are Jones, Wentz, and
I'm going
Lawrence.
Mayfield over
You
Cousins
know what
for
I'm saying?
sure.
Over those three, I'm going him. So
It's
again,
a
I
lot
don't
of preference.
yeah, so I don't think, he did anything wrong. Ayuk, he even got Mike Davis, who was my guy. I was getting in like the 12th round, a couple weeks ago. He's flying up the charts. And again, Chase, Harris, I mean, where he got these guys with who was available, I think he made the right picks. Just overall, it came out as a B team. And sometimes that happens. You can do everything right and still get a B.
I'm just gonna say Frank want to give this guy a good grade just based on tight end. That's it. Hey, I really like his
I
team.
didn't even notice the tight end.
Yeah, because
I
he
honestly
just
don't
has
even
that
care.
window. It's got to be between picks
Yeah,
4 and 7,
4 and 6 or 4 and 7.
or you're
Yeah,
looking at a
somewhere in
C
there.
D grade. Hey, I like it. So far, all returners. Moving on, PapaConks.
Yep, PapaConks,
Did
another
I
returner.
say that right? I feel like I'm saying
Yep.
that right. Dude, starting it off with two solid wide receivers. I'm gonna just go on. I hate doing it, but the color coding when you're going two quarterbacks, two receivers, like I think that's a good strategy. Don't always set it in your mind. I'm
Or two running backs, but yeah.
Sorry, flipped it.
It's
So
all
two
good. Slip of the
quarterbacks,
tongue.
two running backs, two receivers. Don't set your mind on that. I'm totally about getting the best available, but the way he did it, like he's got good range and throwing Gronk as a tight end. You could already tell there's that huge drop off after the first 3 to 4 tight ends. Who knows? So not a bad pick. You don't get one of them. Who cares anymore?
Yeah, I got another A+ draft here. To
Look
me,
at him.
it's perfect. You have two top quarterbacks with Murray and Rodgers. Regardless of where, obviously, if he doesn't play, he doesn't play. But if he gets traded or if he does play there, he's still going to be a QB2
He's
easily.
Rodgers.
Exactly, still Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to have something to prove. So you kind of want somebody like that on your team. You saw what he did last year when he had something to prove. Throwing 40 touchdowns. Then you have Eckler and Edwards. I think in a PPR league, this is huge. Wouldn't be so great in standard, but in a PPR league, I think those are two great running back 1s and 2s to have. And then, like you said, smash those 3 receivers in Godwin, Johnson, and Lockett. So you have good starters with a nice, wide receiver 3 to rotate in for injury or bye weeks. And then get your RB3 or QB3 in Sam Darnold. So, I mean, it's as a QB3, I think that's very solid. Some people are stuck with him as a QB2, which I don't like. But as a QB3, that's fantastic. And then Chenault is a nice little lotto ticket here. We're all pretty big, pretty high
Gotta
on
love
him
it.
here this year. Like Frank would say, it's a perfect spot to get Gronk. Love the Michael Carter pick. I think you and I are huge
I
on
love
that.
his last 2 picks.
Yeah, getting getting a potential running back 1 there in Michael Carter, and then you have one of the top handcuffs in the league in Tony Pollard. All of a sudden, apparently out of nowhere, but
and that's where
again,
you
it
win
is
it.
what
Those
it is.
late picks.
Yep.
So I'll put him in top 2, and it's not 2 in the last 2 picks. I know that's a mouthful. I really like what he did there. I think both those guys have huge potential, especially for running backs. Let Zeke sit out and Pollard hey, he's more than the ace deuce over there. Speaking on picks that I hate, Saquon Barkley. No, I can't. I can't hate on Saquon, but I can hate on Saquon. Finish the season. I've been lucky this far not drafting him, so I'm gonna keep going. Servingsizejohn. He's seeing it the other way. Took him with his first pick. I mean, what do you give it? I think he meant to take Taysom Hill with his second pick. No, just kidding.
No, that's funny. Yeah,
I think we're both looking at the same thing here, right? Quarterbacks is
Yeah, that's where we're lacking. So I have him here as a B minus, and the reason why he kind of escapes out of the C range by not having that, QB3, because to me, if you don't have a QB3, you automatically go to a C, and then I kind of start looking at what you have, from there. Um, and he has so much top end talent that
Yeah.
I can't leave him in that C range. Having Barkley, having Hill, having Ridley and Jefferson. I mean, come on, those first four picks are mouthwatering as far as players. But again, you need a quarterback. So instead of going tight end right there, you got to go quarterback there. And then, again, if he grabs a Cousins and then grabs a Lawrence, we're talking almost a draft at this point. Again, it's not great, but if you go zero QB like that and grab Cousins and Lawrence, to me, that's not that bad of a situation.
And then you come back with a Gaskin and a Moss.
Is exactly, and you'd be fine right there. So, I think a couple tweaks there. Again, we're not fans of taking a tight end that early, especially again if on Andrews. If you're getting maybe Kelsey or even I'd maybe take a flyer on Pitts that early. Waller, of course, or Kittle, but not for Andrews. I don't think he's that much of a difference maker. I think anybody you would take almost.
He was a big surprise for me on this draft.
Yeah, that went a little early, especially knowing those tight ends were kind of staying there. But those are, those top 5 guys that you see. But I think as we get closer, you're going to see Pitts climbing into that number 3 or 4 spot, or the number 4 or 5 spot there. I think Hawkinson's going to kind of lock in that number 4 tight end, draft spot, but Pitts will make that top 5, I think, by the time we all start drafting.
I'm holding out on a strategy on you guys. I'll get to it maybe my next draft, but I may have a difference of opinion now. Speaking of Fs, I mean, can you blow it any more than this guy, right?
Is it going to be hard to even do this? Because normally this is where I let Frank talk, but he's not here. So it's going to be a quick.
All right, so I'm going to break it down.
Quick recap.
You already know I love the Mixon and Sanders pick. I think they're catching a lot of balls out of the backfield. I'm not a big fan of Cousins, but I know Roethlisberger's going to throw 50 times a game, like Justin Fields. So I would just change names there. But the way you did it, picking up 4 quarterbacks, I don't think it's a bad idea. You got to think, if these people are playing in your flex, you want a quarterback in your flex every single time. I don't want to say the worst quarterback, but I'd take a lower end quarterback over a higher end running back in my flex all day. So people are taking 2 early tight ends, stuff like that. That's what I'm looking at. Like, get a damn quarterback. You're going to have bye weeks, and you're going to want to just replace him and have that quarterback in there. So that's why I love your strategy as far as getting the quarterbacks. And with all that said, that's why I gave you an F, because I don't like Tanyan. That's it. I hate your logo.
Yeah, I was going to say, usually it's the logo that
that's the best grade I've ever given you. An F. Hey,
an F. I know it wasn't an F minus today. I pulled it up. Yeah. No, but just like you said, no, I appreciate the breakdown there for real. But yeah, that's what it is. Again, I love the Bateman and Pittman picks there at the end. Again, these are just some of my guys. I have to think that Bateman is you're not going to get Bateman in the 11th or later. I don't think. I would have to say by draft time. I was going to say by draft time that's going to come up. But we'll see. And again, in a PPR for my RB4, I kind of like going there at the end. Running backs early.
I would love to go deeper than this, because I can just see names that didn't get picked and like, okay.
Yeah. And again, we won't get into it. Yeah, the last 2 rounds, usually, most drafts are 15 rounds. Your average drafts are 15 rounds. The last 2 rounds typically are your kicker and your defense. But we're starting to get a lot of hybrid leagues this year where people are replacing those kickers and defenses with extra flex spots, just because it makes it more interesting. You get to utilize more players on your bench, and you're not wasting, slots or having to drop, good wide receivers or running backs just to fill in a kicker for 1 week. So again, this is why I personally am trying to, get all the people I play with to get away from at least kickers. I'm still kind of holding out on defenses. I kind of like having them on there. I think there is a strategy with that as long as you have the settings set up proper. But
that's a big part of it.
It really is.
So I love IDP
defensive settings are set up. Yeah, and if you go IDP, those are good too. But to me, again,
which is individual defensive player. So you get a linebacker, you get one defensive player.
Yeah,
Go
like usually a lineman, a
linebacker.
linebacker, and a safety or, DB type player. One at each level is how I like to play when you do play IDP. But again, I don't like the defensive players to be more valuable than, running backs. So to me, those guys shouldn't be able to even score
close.
10, 15 points, so you have to kind of have tackles at like half a point, and then it just makes it to where it's almost not even relevant. You're doing all this research and stats.
Hey, I should get a point for a tackle and half a point for half a tackle. Just my opinion. If I get 12 points, I got 12 tackles. That's a solid ass defense game.
Right.
But growing up playing defense, hey, I throw a little more emphasis on those guys. So.
Exactly. Or
but again, that's what
leagues.
We go to.
Those ones are fun too. Defensive only leagues where it's all defensive players. So those are fun leagues too. So anyway, moving on.
But that's what we're saying. Just know your points. Sorry, guys, we went on a tangent.
We love football.
That's why we're saying know your points, know your settings when you're getting into a league, because there is all kinds of different strategies. So sorry I took us there. Hey, jumping to Wilson 27, first time drafter.
No, Wilson 27, man. He's been there. He looks like a first time drafter because this is our guy who changed his Pittsburgh Steeler logo.
I was gonna say
because you kept giving him a hard time. Yeah, so maybe I should have let you grade it first before I mentioned that he was the guy with the Pittsburgh.
Sure should have, because he gets an A+ now.
Oh,
just
see,
for dropping the logo.
Just for dropping that logo.
Nah, hey, I love what he did here. I love his first 4 picks. Not a big Moore fan, but I mean, I'm not taking it away from him. I would have tried to get a second quarterback a little earlier. Love the Pitts pick. I mean, he did it. I like his team. I do.
Yeah.
You don't see Marvin Jones come up too often in these drafts either. So.
I've been kind of picking him up here lately. I kind of really like him opposite of DJ Chark there in Jacksonville. So we'll kind of see, but I like him as one of those late round picks. But my boy Wilson 27 here, give him a solid B+, man. To me, I think he has some great running backs. He has great depth. When you get Chris Carson as your RB3, and Chubb and Akers as your 1s and 2s, those are 2 RB1s for most people. And solid receivers. Again, I think Hopkins is obviously a top wide receiver 1, and I think DJ Moore is a top wide receiver 2. You can even argue possibly a low end wide receiver 1, depending on what he does with Darnold there. Of course, Christian McCaffrey's on that team, so there's going to be attention elsewhere, so he has a good chance to eat. And like you said, you'd like to see quarterback taken a little earlier though, but you're not going to get that depth and that those receivers. But again, I would much more happily take a quarterback there instead of DJ Moore, and then still get Carson, and then just get another receiver, down here in that Tua spot.
Like he just doesn't have enough guys on his team. I want to see one more running back too, because I mean, with Chubb, Carson, there's always that potential for injury, and you don't want to be stuck with 2 running backs. Then come bye weeks, you're playing a shit guy.
Right.
So,
and again, that's why I have to have 4 or 5 running backs ideally on my team.
I would love to see his next few picks, because I think that's what's going to make his team or break his team. But I love what he did there.
Absolutely. So yeah, so solid B+ for me.
Okay. JCleev. What are you thinking?
The Cleavinator.
Did he steal Lamar from Andrew? What happened?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I think Andrew ended up passing on him because he went with Henry instead, and he didn't make it back around. But yeah, he came out with Lamar here, followed by Aaron Jones, and then J.K. Dobbins, who I'm starting to kind of come around on a little more as maybe a nice RB2. Yeah, just kind of diving into his numbers more. When you're kind of off on guys, you kind of like to just kind of go back and look at stuff and just kind of figure out what's going on, kind of reevaluate. You don't want to just kind of hold that grudge and let it grow and grow. Next thing I have him ranked as like the top 27th running back just because, for no reason, just because you just feel like you don't want to touch the guy. But honestly, he is a top guy. Arguably running back 2 on his team. Lamar Jackson, potential 1,000-yard rusher there, which is just kind of what takes me away from him being one of those potential elite running backs, regardless of his talent level. And then again, he comes here with Jalen Hurts, And to me, it seems like a lot of people get that Jackson Hurts combo for some reason. I'm going to keep kind of paying attention to that more. But it kind of seems like most people that, like Jackson also like Hurts because, I would say he's almost kind of a similar, poor version, poor Lamar Jackson. What am I trying to say?
That's what I was
He's
going
a
to say.
poor
I don't
man's
want to call them
Lamar
running
Jackson.
quarterbacks at all.
Yeah.
I would call them more dual threat
Right.
Well, because
Lamar
they're not
Jackson
running quarterbacks. Lamar can sling that thing.
Oh yeah, he can still sling it. He's not that accurate. He's not your pocket quarterback. And he's like if he sees a window, he'll take off and run before he's trying to stay it in there and throw
Give him a
Tyreek
Hill.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Give him a Tyreek Hill. And
yeah. Well, and that's what you hope Bateman's going to be. And again, I know we're not really talking about this right now, but to me, if Bateman's there, that might open up Hollywood Brown for those deep shots instead of the defense being able to
give them Julio.
Or that too.
These guys cannot sign a receiver to save their life. Every receiver that's been a free agent, they have tried for every single person. And I think
Dez Bryant said no.
And then he went there. And now he's out of the league. Right. But it's not – okay, people say Lamar vultures. I had a change of opinion. I'm not going to call it vulture anymore. He's just so talented, and it's so easy for him to get it into the end zone. And if they're spreading out, they got that many threats on the field, like, why not take the easy touchdown? So I can't knock my man at all. Mm-hmm. I like the pick in the first round, actually. Before Dak, questionable, but I can understand it for sure.
Yeah, and before Herbert even too. So
yeah, that's bold. But I'm not knocking Lamar at all.
Yeah. Well, and again, Herbert, we got to see it one more year, right? Almost kind of like I'm almost kind of think, same reason why I went and re-evaluated Dobbins. I got to also reevaluate the guys I feel like I'm really high on and make sure I'm not, having beer goggles on or anything there either, And so what do we really know about Herbert? Their line's still not that great. Allen is another year older. They didn't get another wide receiver too. All they were able to do is re-sign Mike Williams. We'll see if Eckler gets to go there. Josh Kelly ended up being a bust. So when you kind of start putting all those things together,
break it down.
Their defense
and look at their numbers too.
Yeah, and their defense is going to get a lot better this year.
Justin Herbert, take their faces off. Just look at their numbers,
and it's like you look at it and it looks great, but is there other guys here? Like you said, a Matt Ryan that he's been doing it for years. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get some of those 4-point games, but you're going to get a lot of consecutive 26-plus point games as well too. So, in a 6-point per passing touchdown. But anyway, we're almost turning this into
another show now. We did it again.
See, that's what happens when Frank's not here to hold us together here.
I can't say this guy's name. Cinna?
I don't know.
It's like cinnamon, but like
based
no
on
men.
based on the picture, right? It kind of looks like an upside down shin with like a face written on it. So maybe it's Cinna. I don't know. Either way. What do you give him?
Hey, first 2 picks, A+.
Oh, I gave JCleev a B-, by the way. I don't know if I actually said my grade.
I don't know if you did either. I think we just got really deep about the Ravens.
Yeah, I know. We started really going off there. Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Hey, that's a different show. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
Back to grading your drafts. Cinna,
yeah.
I like his draft. I think we're going to say the same thing, get a quarterback a little earlier. But I love the depth that he has in certain positions. He's got some kind of – he's like flipping a coin once you get a little later into it, right?
Yeah, I'm not feeling this team actually at all. To me, I give this team a D.
He has 4 split backfield running backs.
Yeah, you got Josh Jacobs as your RB2, who I told you guys I want as my RB4 at best, maybe RB3, but RB4 at best. To me, Robinson is his number 2. Connor's okay. Singletary's kind of okay after that. But again, you're so far behind, after all of that. I kind of like his receivers, but to me, he doesn't even really have a second quarterback. Based on the schedule, unless Mac Jones wins that job over
You're a Niner fan.
I'm just saying, like, unless he wins that job, you know what I'm saying?
Mac Jones is getting picked up. Mac Jones is not even starting this whole year unless Cam.
That's what I'm saying. He's still got ahead of Garoppolo. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Garoppolo.
You know what I mean? So it's like he might not even have a second and let alone even a third quarterback on this team. No RB2. His receivers aren't like great. I mean, Robinson's whatever. Bobby Trees, we all love him. But, you know, again, Will Fuller took way early. Will Fuller normally goes in like the 11th or 12th round. I mean, it was just.
Yeah. Maybe you know someone we don't.
I mean, who knows? I mean, get your guys. Get your
I'll
guys.
say James Robinson is one cool nickname away from like being a staple in the NFL.
Could be. Or another
Call
team.
him Juice or something like that, like Juice Robinson, and you're like, oh shit, I got to get Juice. Yeah. And I think a lot more people will pick him, recognize he got 1,000 yards last year as a rookie, but what do? Oh yeah, let's get another running back. Disrespect that man. And ETN got picked up in the 4th. Rookie, never seen the field. And
right, and they're not even talking about using like all the hype out of ETN is him being used as a wide receiver. Not even as a running back. Yeah, so it's, I don't know. You gotta love it.
Urban Meyer.
I'm one of them. I'm kind of like, yeah, I love him as an RB3. I think he's on one episode. I think he said he was top. I thought he was the top RB3 to have. I retract that statement. I think he's top 3 to top 5 RB3 to have.
I would love him to have him as a 3rd, as my sleeper
nice
rookie.
PPR. Yeah, he climbs up there more in a PPR, but just overall any team, I think he's top 5. I would
never
take a chance.
Seen him take a snap. Hey,
anyway,
never seen him take a snap in the NFL. Hey, we did it again. We did it
there
again.
We go. Yeah, we need Frank here. We need to get Frank.
Let's close it out. Hey, 3 make 3er. So Haymaker. 33. Let's just call him Haymaker 33.
He's dropping haymakers. Let's do. We can call him whatever you want to call him.
Hey, you're the guy. I'm just gonna jump into it. I'm sorry. I love those 2 quarterbacks in a row. Those are 2 solid ones that I feel like they're gonna have to throw the 50 times a game, or at least they're gonna have 50 passes in a game. Love the Keenan Allen. I would change a few of these names out, with Hawkinson and Hunt. But to come back with Cortland was drafted super high last year and just got injured. So a lot of people kind of forget about it. And you got Noah. I mean, I like what he did. I would change a few names, but I like what he did. I know you're going to say add more quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, and to me, that's where you're at, man. No QB3, no A for me.
What'd you give him?
And then again, I start to kind of dissect it and look at the talent. Again, like we talk about, then you look at the color coding. I see 2 orange spots real high, up in that draft. So that already kind of knocks it down for me as well. And that's before even diving into the names. And then you start talking about switching guys out here or there. So to me, that's a terrible draft. So, like you said, I mean, I love the top end of the draft.
Started off hot.
Right. I mean, you started off, it had a potential, and then you just kind of fell off a cliff there. And that's what happens when you take a tight end early and you don't know how to recover. You're on that turn. It's a lot of pressure taking 2 guys at once, trying to project who's going to get back to you 24 picks later. So you kind of really have to know what you're doing and have a strategy when you're there on the turn. So far, our best strategy that we've kind of seen so far in our mocks have been that, either 2 running back, 2 quarterback, or 2 quarterback, 2 running back there at the turn, followed then by, 2 receivers. So again, until somebody shows me a different strategy that works better on the turn, if I get that spot, I'm probably going to go, that route, depending on, what falls to me there in the first.
Hey, but again, like we keep saying, that's why we're here, guys. Having this experience when you're hopping into a draft and knowing who's sleeping and getting critical, like Anthony's saying, and researching your guys, like that's what's going to put us that one step above. Look how many drafts we've already had in. We could be over 50 drafts in at this point. When you're playing against a league who this is their first draft and they didn't do anything but read names, we're getting all your feedback. That's why we love it. Keep writing us on YouTube, on Twitter. We appreciate you guys for getting in the draft. We look forward to the next ones. And always appreciate you breaking everything down.
Yep. Appreciate being here, man. You guys know I love talking fantasy.